So we've already recorded our first video and we just decided to jump right into our second video. Today's topic is going to be about
loving yourself, right? Self-love,
self-love.
self-embracing.
Loving yourself, self-love, embracing yourself, yes.
Insecurities.
So what are your thoughts on that?
This is not something that you're born with. So it's something that you have to be taught by way of either your parents or some people, and I think that's part of the reason why it's expressed in so many different ways. It's like we think people, when you hear self-love, it's like, okay, well, what exactly is self-love? Because everybody have different perspective of what love in general is. It's a learning process. I don't think it's something that comes overnight. And it's definitely not nothing that you're just born knowing how to do. You know what I mean? So and in that process of learning how to love yourself, you go through some stuff sometimes.
Absolutely.
Especially if you don't have nobody to really love you and show you your value, because you know what I mean, because it all starts there, it all stems there in your adolescence.
So now you're triggering a question for me when you say that, because are you saying that someone has to instill that value into you in order for you to have self-love?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it starts at birth. Literally, it starts at birth. It starts with the nurturing of the baby, all the way up until they can actually understand what's being, what's happening. Like for me, I thought I loved myself. And I'm not gonna go all into detail back into how I once I realized, but I learned later on that I didn't really love myself like I thought I did. Like people go around and say, "Oh, I love me more," da 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 da. But do you really though? Because when you love yourself,
what does that look like? When you love
yourself, don't need validations from anything or anybody. And I feel like people they say they love each other, but they're constantly seeking validations from other people. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but
you're looking for outside sources to fulfill that love for yourself, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
I get that.
And I think that most of the world is starving from that. A lot of people don't love themselves, but they portray it or they depict that they do, but they really don't. That's why stuff is off the hook now.
How would you know though? Like what? So I'll go back before I even ask that question, because self-love, I think, it's gonna come from, like you said, I'll piggyback on what you said. It definitely comes from within. You definitely don't need validation from others in order to have that self-love. But I think it's in the simple things. I think the way that it's just taking the time out, first of all, to be alone. If you can't be alone, that is a sign that self-love is lacking or is gone altogether, right? If you can't stand to just sit with yourself, if you can't stand to just self-reflect, if you can't stand to look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, how can I be better? If you do this monthly, let's say, then you can gauge when you start to go left, right? You can say, okay, yeah, maybe I'm not loving on myself how I should. Maybe I need to tap back in with myself, because yeah, you might have self-love February, but maybe your self-love is gone come January, because it's a practice. You have to be consistent. Maybe somebody came in and was able to affect that self-love. So what you were saying was you thought that you loved yourself, and then you went through some things, and then in your mind's like, dang, well, I really didn't love myself like I thought I did. That's correct, right?
Yeah.
So, or maybe you did, and maybe things change. I mean, we change every single day.
That's true.
So depending on who we want to be, what our goals are, and what our future entails in our minds, that depends on self-evaluation. Because once again, I could meet a friend, or I could go to the store and somebody says something that kind of changes my view, but I didn't realize it then. But now I'm starting to slowly change it, and then somebody else says something. and then somebody else says something. For example, body image is a big one. I mean, I feel for the young girls now. Not that we didn't have the same issues. Now, you know, they got the boobies, they got the BBLs, they got the noses. They lit right now. They like, oh, throw the money.
Yeah, we were looking
throw the
like,
money at all of this body.
We were looking like little boys.
Right. But I feel for them now. And I feel for the younger us too, because back then they was hella skinny. You know what I'm saying? So girls was killing themselves trying to be this big. Same thing. It's still self-image. Whether you want to have this whole, who is that? Betty Boop. Whether you want to have it, you want to have this whole Betty Boop look.
She was cute though.
Yeah, she did. Curves everywhere.
She was cute.
Whether you're going, you know, whether all you see is Betty Boops and you like, dang, I need to do something about this. Or whether all you see is models, because that was our generation. They was skinny, they was models, and they had tiny little eyebrows. That was remember
no
that?
Eyebrows at all.
You remember
Literally
that?
a line.
Not the line. Pamela Anderson had them doing all that.
It was a line. She literally drew her eyebrows.
One line, and we gone. But that affects, you know, your images of yourself. But for example, I had quite a few people asking me, like for a while now, was I pregnant? And first of all, I had to tell them that it was rude. And just no, and you laughing, but that took strength in me to be honest with people, to let them know that I was uncomfortable with what they were saying to me. I think that's self-love. I think little stuff like that, you add $1 to the bank of self-love when you voice your opinion about something that has to do with you. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, that's rude. And then I made them uncomfortable. Like, for example, my coworker, I made her uncomfortable. She's like, well, I didn't mean it. I was like, I understand. And I had no hard feelings, but I want you to know that you're rude. Like, period. I don't think that you should ask me that. I think you should allow me to tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And no, I wasn't. So all the more reason. Not only are you thinking that it's okay to ask me that, you're also making me feel uncomfortable. So why would I jeopardize your comfortability by not saying how I truly feel? That's not how it goes. So,
you know, I do that a lot, actually.
Jeopardize your comfortability?
I compromise a lot. I have to learn how to stop doing that.
Oh, that was me all day. That's why I said that takes like, you have to, it's a practice.
It is a practice.
You know, like, I don't like that. But usually you just laugh it off and be like, okay, well, you know, I don't have to, I'm gone now. That was just one little interaction. But no, it's not just one little interaction, because then you take $1 out of the bank of self-love. Because for me, I'm telling myself that my opinion doesn't matter about me. This isn't a situation that has anything to do with anybody else. At all. This is and also, hey, that can make you have body, like, self-image issues too.
Right.
So somebody's telling you look pregnant, then you look in the mirror like, well,
I look pregnant.
Wow, that's insane. I don't like it. Or, you know, and if it's kids, they go extreme. Like, luckily, I'm an adult. I know how, okay, if I don't like what I see in the mirror, then you need to go change that.
Fix it,
yeah, go fix that real quick. Or
you
change,
know what?
You know, how I'm.
So what you did was you set a boundary.
Yes.
That healthy boundary.
Yes.
Remember we was reading that book called Set Boundaries, Find Peace by Nidra
Tawab.
Tawab. That was a good book.
That's such a good.
I needed that. And you know what? And it makes things so much easier. Like, it taught me not to compromise so much, and that it's okay for me to not agree with what someone says about me. Or not to, you know, I don't have to always be okay. I mean, and it don't have to be a problem.
It ain't, we good.
Like, it doesn't have to be a problem, but
I'm gonna say my piece.
Right, exactly. Like, you can still, just as freely as she said what she said to you.
Exactly.
You can be just as free. And she took offense, like you said. Remember, you said I kind of like made her uncomfortable.
Exactly.
She took offense. So it's basically you kind of like.
And it wasn't just her. It was that has been multiple people.
Oh.
Exactly. Oh, so I had to get comfortable with being honest. Like, I've made multiple people uncomfortable with that question and that answer. Alone.
Earlier, you had said self-love. You were saying, like, are you okay with being alone? You have to learn how to be okay with being alone. And I agree to an extent. However, sometimes being alone is your way of, or isolation, I should say.
Ooh.
When you isolate yourself,
Ooh.
that can be a form of not really loving yourself fully too.
Ooh.
So it's like, it's a give and take. It really depends on the individual person. Because when I went through a season of isolation or whatever, it's not that I didn't, like, I thought I was an introvert. Or is that the word, introvert? A person that just don't like being around people. And I found out just recently, well, not recently, but recently, that I'm not an introvert. I'm not introverted at all, but I just was insecure, and I didn't, you didn't
want to have,
I didn't want to be around people because I couldn't stand, like, somebody's going to say something. Like, I know for a fact somebody's going to criticize me, and somebody's going to do this. And if I put on this, then somebody's going to say, you think you cute, or you trying to be cute. So I didn't wear makeup and things like that. I didn't do things that make you feel good
Get because into the bank of self-love.
You know what I mean? And so you isolate yourself and you pull away. And it's not that people was like, oh, come out. There's been plenty of times where you were like, oh, come out. And I would be like, nah, I don't think I want to go. Or let's go to the beach. No, I don't think I want to, because I don't think I look as good as the next person in the bathing suit or something like that. You know what I mean? Damn. So I was absolutely okay being by myself. But still very
you was
insecure.
Using that as a shield.
Yeah, it was a shield.
It's a fine line, right?
And I spent a lot of time alone. Trust me.
I know you did.
I spent a lot of time alone, but it didn't help with that self-love. I had to do some soul searching. You know what I mean? And I know I ain't the only one that go through that. So I mean, being by yourself and being okay with it, yes, that's good. However,
the flip side of that,
the flip side of that, why are you by yourself is the question. Like, some people's by themselves, or they spend the time alone because they just ain't got nobody else say, you know what I mean? But then you have people that choose to be by themselves all the time. So you know what I mean? It can go either way. Self-love to me, like you were saying, we're real people.
This ain't no TV.
We are normal people. We real life people. Like, we real people. So, I mean, everything ain't gonna always be perfect.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's absolutely okay. Another thing, I was reading a book. I can't remember what it's called. I was reading a book, and the girl was saying, like, she was talking about how she had to learn how to love herself. What is that thing of? I don't know if it was a book or if it was a podcast about a book, but it was something.
I was reading this book that was talking about this book that happened.
Right, exactly. That's exactly probably what happened. And anyway, she was saying how people think that self-care is going to the spa, getting your nails done. They think self-care is mental. It is.
Self-care is multifaceted.
Yeah.
How about that? It does include going to the hair salon, going to get your nails done.
No, and I'm not saying she was disqualifying that. What she was saying, it's more
it's
to it than just this.
You know have what I mean? To, if you're gonna feed the aesthetic side of it, you also gotta feed the mental, the physical, mind, body, spirit. You gotta feed it all. You can't just be body.
Exactly.
Look.
Lauryn Hill said something. I didn't mean to cut you.
It's okay.
Lauryn Hill has said something. She was just like, we sit up here, we do all the glitz and the glams, and we just dress in this outer person while the inner person is dying.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So it's, like you said, it's a whole thing. It's not just this part, and you can't be strong in one area and lack in the other, because it's not gonna. It ain't gonna work.
And
it shows.
To add to that, I found quite a few people on YouTube are feeding into all of it. So at least the people that I choose to follow, they're feeding into the multifaceted or the multidimensional act that is self-care, self-love. For example, they recommend books that can enlighten you about your mind and journaling, and it's trendy And I'm feeling that trend. I'm feeling that. Like these women that are doing the spas and all that. But on the flip side, what's one of the ladies' names? Alexis Sparks is somebody that I watch a lot, and she feeds all of it. Mm-hmm. So not only does she talk about down to what she's eating, down to journaling, down to getting her hair and nails done, down to working out, down to praying. Like she's on all of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, here's my routine. It's going to include mind, body, spirit, not just body, body, body. And then the cool thing about the internet is we get to choose what we watch.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day, it was just TV. Mm-hmm. Now we have YouTube. We have so many different avenues where we get to pick the people that we follow. Yeah. So if somebody is only talking about body, 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 you could easily hit unfollow and go follow someone that's more enlightened and more on the path that you see yourself going on. Self-care, self-love. I think self-care is a part of self-love. So let's get back to self-love. What does that look like for Ariel?
You have to be able to accept change. You have to be willing to change, because anything that ain't growing is dead. So you have to be willing to change, and whether people want to believe it, we're not perfect, and it's always something that can be fixed about us. But are you accepting the fact that, dang, this is messed up with me, I need to fix this, and really know, like, seriously, you know what I'm saying, wanting to be better. I think that's self-love. When you want to be better, you don't necessarily have to have it all together, but the fact that you want to better yourself because you're trying to find ways to improve, whether it's mentally, physically. That's why a lot of people go to the gym or whatever, because they actually love themselves. They said, you know what, I'm out of shape, I'm gonna get in the gym, I'm gonna fix the situation, especially if you can, if it's something that you can help. Or another person say, you know what, I got a temper problem, I'm gonna go do therapy. That's self-love. Like, people think that, oh, she's crazy, she's going to church. No,
I am crazy. That's why I'm
going to get the help. Seeking help, seeking help. That to me is self-love. When you try to better your ways, and not only just because you want to do it for yourself, because it affects, I don't know, what if it's affecting somebody that you love or the people around you? You know what I mean? To me, that's what self-love is. Self-love is being okay with even knowing that you have these flaws, but taking the time to try to fix it, or just trying to be better in whatever area it is that you're lacking. That's self-love.
To me, to sum that all up in your eyes, self-love is self-reflection and then action on what you find.
Yeah, because I mean, it takes a strong person to accept them. People don't like to hear what's wrong with them. You know what I mean?
You know what though? I'm gonna jump in on that one, because you might not like to hear what's wrong with you. Not you. You might not like to hear what's wrong with you, but in the same token, sometimes it's the delivery. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Yeah, maybe your cousin didn't need to tell you what was wrong with you because they don't know how to talk to people. You get what I'm saying? Like, the message wasn't delivered properly. So how could you properly receive it if they don't know how to treat you or how to talk to you or how to get through to you? So before you criticize somebody, I think that you need to have a good enough relationship to even know how to get through to them. If you don't say nothing. I know some people is not going to agree with me on that, but don't say nothing. If you don't even know how to formulate the words to penetrate that person's spirit, don't say anything. That means that you haven't put in the work. You still on this surface level, and you need to go a little bit deeper with them.
Some people too far gone, and ain't no reason. Some people be too far gone.
Man,
like, you can try to get through some you ain't getting through no bullet head. You're just not. Some people are just not willing to reason, and that's
you have to be willing to.
You have to be. That's why I said acceptance.
You got to recognize that too, though.
You have to acceptance, but it all starts with us.
Yeah, because if you put in the work with yourself, self-reflecting, doing therapy if you think you need it, journaling, working out. Ooh, working out is such a big part of self-love. The look is just the consequence. So yeah, now you looking how you want to look, but really when you work out, you demonstrate discipline because you have a plan and you're doing it consistently. You demonstrate consistency. You also relieve your mind. I find that any form of body movement, I need to move my body. I have to dance. New one, that riding a bike, that's my jam right there. I love to ride my bike. Like I can go. I will be gone. I found that I like motion. So that's why I like car rides. But car rides ain't getting your legs and your bum right. Right? So it's like, oh.
You'll be stiff. If anything.
Right. Ain't gas as high as I don't know what. Sure, all you got to do is eat something and fuel yourself and ride. And you can go. So, where was I going with that? Oh. So you demonstrate those two things, but not only that, you also, when you work out, you release endorphins this is a chemical reaction that's happening in your body that makes you feel happy. Make you feel happy. Go sweat it out for a minute and see if you don't feel happy. And when you're happy, you make better decisions. You can handle conflicts easier.
Yeah.
You can control your temper better. You have clarity on things quicker. I mean, the list goes on and on. At least for me, my mental, I'll be going crazy if I don't have some sort or form of body movement. So that's a huge part of my self-love. I have to move my body. I have to dance. I need to, swimming also. And not like with these locks. I'm like, yeah, I could just get right on in there. Like, I need a cap, though. I need a cap because that chlorine ain't no joke. I'm going to be pulling them out in a minute. I'm going to piggyback on what you said. Self-reflection. Checking in with yourself. However often. If you think it's a week, then do it every week. If you think every day, do it every day.
Loving thyself, huh?
What do you want to say to someone who may come across this podcast and feel like, all right, guys, that works for you. That works for you and her. But what's my way?
I still don't love me.
What would you tell that person who watches this and they're like, okay, that sounds all fine and dandy, but I need to find my path? Because both of us said two totally different things of what sums up self-love for us. Because we're different people. You're going to have a bunch of different people watching.
You're going to have to be totally transparent. You have to be honest with yourself.
Honesty.
Stop lying to yourself. You know what I mean? It's for real. Stop lying to yourself.
It's not funny. I'm laughing though. Just
stop lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Listen, the truth will set you free. Ask yourself, what don't I like about you? Write it down if you have to. After you're done writing down those things that you dislike about yourself, now, next to that, write down a solution or solutions. How can I change this? Or is it even changeable? Is this something that I can have control? Now, if this is something that you can't control, I say put it on the back burner and focus on the things that you can control first. And then what you'll realize is once you take or get a grasp on the things that you can control, the stuff that you can't control won't even matter no more. You know what I mean? You be saying that's out of my, you ain't stressing nothing that you can't. Listen, it is what it is. You can't, you know what I mean? You're not, that stuff that you can't control, you ain't gonna even care. You're gonna be like, I mean, I can't do nothing about that. You know what I mean? And so, but you gotta be honest with yourself. And it's gonna be hard. And you might even need to seek some counsel somewhere. Some people have a hard time identifying what it is. Like they'll say, like, something's wrong, but I just don't know what it is.
Ooh,
what I mean?
That was me for
a lot of
recently.
people. And
I don't know.
Some people don't know. Some people sincerely don't know. And you can get help with that though. There's resources here. There's resources here. That would be my advice.
Start with trying new things. Now, I don't mean drugs. Just pay attention to yourself. If you don't normally walk in the morning, but you have the time to, just get up, put on some walker shoes, and go walk. Sometimes things happen as simple as that. I remember a short little story, and then I'm going to get back to that advice. I just decided to hop on this was before I even had a bike, years ago. I decided to hop on my husband's bike and just go ride the bridge. We in the Bay, by the way. So I decided to go ride the bridge. And while on this route, I go into another city, go down, and I see flyers and posters about an event that was happening that day. Mind you, it's like 7 a.m. The event don't start until 11 or 12. So I was like, well, outside event. I would have never even found this cool little nook had I not gone on the bike run that morning. So I went home, got my kid dressed. Me and my husband and my son, we ended up going down and having a great time at this little outdoor event. It was just a poster up on a poster board saying come down, but it's stuff like that. When you try new things, you run into new experiences, and experiences often will reveal yourself to you more. So when my friend said that there was a point where she had a form of isolation, but it wasn't for the better. It was because she was trying to build a protective layer. Let yourself try new things. Go for a walk, go for a bike ride, go swimming, go to that dance class you keep walking past and looking and thinking that it's kind of tight, but you don't want to. No, I wouldn't dare go inside. Go in one day. Just say, okay, fine. I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna get a ticket, or I'm gonna, pay the fee, go in and just try new things. It allows you to come out of your shell, and you can say, oh, this is why I've been doing this, because I haven't been doing this. You might find that, like myself, you need body movement. So a dance class might change your life. Riding a bike might change your life for the whole package of self-love that we talked about, mind, body, and spirit, right?
Yeah, for me, being outdoors definitely is a way that I relieve stress, and I don't necessarily have to be riding a bike, or I can just
not motion, but outside.
Just being outside. Just sometimes you can just go to a really nice park and just lay on the grass and just look up at the sky. And I know it sounds cliche. Oh, you've been watching too many movies. No, it's a real thing. You know what I mean?
Thing.
It's a thing. You can really get grounded, and you would just feel so light as something that simple. And you'd be surprised what revelations will come to you.
Kids know better. They love going to the park. They love riding down a hill as fast as they can. Hey, if you cannot handle that, do not do it. But I'm just saying, if you get back to your childlike nature of curiosity, but about yourself, then you will find all of those things and more. And I think you'll find out how great you are. Self-discovery is amazing. It's gonna hurt, like she said.
Sometimes it can be painful for some people.
Painful. You're gonna have, depending on, I don't know what the barometer of that pain looks like for you. There will be some pain involved, but it's also absolutely amazing to discover yourself and the things that you can actually do when you're not in a bubble, when you don't put yourself in a box, when you let you be you for real. And
to be totally honest, I still feel like I live in a box. My box just grew. You know what I mean? But I'm still, like when you were saying I was building this protective barrier. It's still there. You know, it hasn't fully gone away.
But you moved it out. Yeah. You moved it out.
I got a couple more square feet.
It's further away from you. Yeah. It's further away. And before you know it, you're not going to be able to see it. There are levels to it. I mean, in order to run, you got to first take the first step, right?
Some people just get up and take flight.
So you're like, go.
I've heard stories like they say my baby never crawled. They just got up and started walking.
Ooh,
I've heard that. Brother. He did that too?
He never crawled. He started running.
He's out of here. I'm gone. I got places to be.
Go
out of here. Yeah. Like, some people say I know some people that say their baby just got up one day and just started walking. Like they never crawled a day in their life. Some babies used to roll. Like they would just roll wherever they need to go. And
my nephew climbed first.
He climbed.
He could not crawl, but he would climb up the couch like he was going, but he wasn't crawling or anything. But he was climbing his self off. Yes.
So I mean, it really depends on you.
So adding to that, do not compare yourself to people. For example, she just said, hey, some babies get up and start running. And meanwhile, you're like, well, when am I going to crawl? Maybe you're not one of them crawling kind of people.
Maybe you're not a crawler.
Maybe you a runner.
She's a runner. She's a runner. She's a track star.
You get over that.
She's a
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But you know,
true.
It's just your own level. Everybody got their own level. Do model yourself though. So if you have something that you wanted, and I've heard this across the board between podcasts and books and YouTubes and authors, and just everyone says this but in a different way. Find the person that's doing, or find somebody that's doing what you want to do well and model that.
There you go.
You ain't gotta. Now it's a fine line with that too. Now don't steal their style. Come on now.
But it's okay to watch a person from afar.
Yeah, study.
It's all right.
As comedians call it, going to school or no, taking class. I was watching.
It's okay to aspire to be somebody or be like somebody, or to just take some way, certain characteristics. Some you might just like the way a person moves, and you just like, you know what, I'm gonna start doing that, or I'm gonna and you know what I mean, make it your own. But you can it's okay though. People like to say, oh, don't be a copycat.
The difference to me would be if somebody comes in and they're wearing jeans, a black t-shirt, black shoes, nice jewelry, and I think that's a nice outfit right there.
You said jeans and what?
Jeans, a black tee, some nice jewelry, and some black shoes, right? I can say that's a nice outfit right there, right? And then I can either go and buy that exact same outfit and then realize that it doesn't look good on me, or I could go find some black shoes that I love, my favorite pair of black shoes, my favorite jeans, a nice black top, my own jewelry, not the exact same thing that they had, but just model. So to me, that's the difference between imitating and modeling someone that's doing what you want to do. And
right, because you still made it your own.
Yeah.
Like you took the idea basically.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, I guess the foundation.
Yes.
And then then you build it up to your own liking or something like that. The same thing with cooking. Because I do that a lot. Like I cook a lot. And I might see something and I'll watch how a person does it, and then they might use, I don't know, a spice or something. I'd be like, I don't like that. But I'll just, I don't like curry, so I put my own whatever. I'll substitute curry with something that I actually like, and then create my own platter. It becomes my own at this point.
But you modeled it. Yeah. Because you still used the
noodles
did the same, and the this and the meat that they used and all that. You got the idea from them. Yeah. You saw how they did it. You probably cooked your meat the same time and they cooked their meat. Exactly. All of that. But you put your own spice in there.
Yeah. Because you like, I don't like that. And this person like, oh, well, I don't, but I like garlic. So I'm putting garlic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I mean, and you make it your own palette. It becomes my own individual palette. It was just inspired by this person's palette, but it became my own. I made it my own. You know what I mean? Just do your own thing. Yeah. Don't complicate stuff either.
And don't complicate it.
Don't complicate it. Life is simple. It truly is. Loving yourself is simple, whether you want to believe it or not. Loving yourself is such a simple thing to do, but it's the most frowned upon thing, because the first thing they want to say is that you're cocky or
selfish,
or you're selfish, or that, you know what I mean, you're self-centered, or whatever it is they want to say.
But sometimes you need to be. I think the conversation is shifting on that now, though.
Yeah.
What selfish truly is. Because if we go back to the beginning of this conversation, where we talked about sacrificing our own feelings for other people's feelings, when it's about it's not like I'm telling you about yourself. It's about me.
Yeah.
So how come my feelings shouldn't be valid about me?
One, accept yourself. That's one. And then we had said, you had said acceptance, and then I know I had mentioned finding out what it is that you don't like about yourself. If it's fixable, if it's unfixable, you know, if you can fix it, fix it. If you can't, don't worry about it. So that was another thing.
When you said keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. I love that.
And don't be afraid to seek counsel. Don't be afraid to seek counsel. And don't be afraid to be rejected either, because you're going to get rejected. That's just life. Everybody gets rejected.
By the people closest to you, because now you are changing the version of you that they are accustomed to. So anytime you make someone feel uncomfortable, you're going to get some
backlash. You're going to get some backlash, but you can't worry about that. You know what I mean?
And for the fourth one, I would say honesty.
Honesty.
I like that you said honesty as well. Honesty. Absolutely. So,
because if you don't have one, you can't have the other. If you can't be honest, you can't accept it, you know, things about yourself. And if you can accept these things about yourself, then you can't possibly seek help for something that you ain't even fully accepted about yourself. That's wrong. You know what I mean? So they all go hand in hand. So you know what I mean? It's just like a little bullet point.
It's an outline of where you want to go, or what you want to be, or who you want to be, right? Outline, the blueprint, for sure.
And take it one step at a time. Don't try to do everything at once. You'll dry yourself out.
Step.
Exactly.
Day by day.
One step at a time.
Yes. So, thank you guys for sitting with us through this podcast. And I'm Danye.
I'm Ariel.
And we will see you next time. We can put a bow on it.
Before they
about to be like, right there. I get them. When they say Ariel and Danye,
huh? Get them now. Please don't.
Oh, you know what?